of the house is what I always say. Now, I think an appraiser may disagree, but it does. It just helps it all
It's an impression.
look great. Yeah,
and it makes it all.
So yeah, we don't want to pull it too soon because the last thing we want to do is restage the same house. That's not fun
Especially
for us.
if the offer falls.
So, and we just know from our days on market, like right now, our average days on market is 10. So you should be able to be under contract and through inspection and appraisal within that 45-day window and be up and out without having to do a monthly renewal.
Yeah. Welcome to the Dispatch on Purpose. I am your host, Amy Dahl, and I'm excited to have you back to our podcast where we talk about generosity, wealth building, leadership, and family success. And today, I am honored to welcome one of my favorite people in the real estate industry who makes all my listings look beautiful, Kim Dombrowski. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Kim, you are the founder and owner of Impressive Home Staging, correct?
That's right.
So the staging company that I exclusively use for all of our listings. So tell me how you got started in the staging business.
Well, it's been 15 years, but I didn't start with an interior design background or anything like that. My background was in corporate and IT, believe it or not, in the cosmetic industry. Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
I know. So, but I think always having a passion for design and decorating for your friends and family turned into, kind of when I left the corporate world and trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, I just kept coming back to the home staging, it being kind of a new industry. That was back in 2010 when HGTV was just kind of raving about it. So, I started with nothing but the fourth bedroom of my house to store things, a pickup truck, my husband and kids to help move furniture, and, just started with nothing basically until moving into storage units and more storage units and warehouse. And we've moved every 2 years and grown every year for 15 years. And now we're here in this location with 6,000 square foot warehouse and 10 employees.
6,000 square foot warehouse, 10 employees,
and
2 box trucks, 2 moving vans, I think,
and
a lot of people, a lot of help.
A lot of inventory. The investment in the inventory over the years is like $1 million in inventory.
And you told me how many, on a given day, if this warehouse were full, you have how many homes worth of furniture?
About 65 houses of furniture.
Wow.
Although a lot of the houses we're doing now are a little bigger, larger, more luxurious homes, so they take a lot more furniture. So the definition of a house, we keep debating.
As it gets bigger and bigger. Yeah.
So.
And one of the most impressive things to me about your business is you're as much design as you are the business factor. I mean, you truly run this like a business. And before I used you and I've interviewed and met with other stagers, they were kind of more in the beginning stages where it was really about the decorating. But with you, it's kind of a known entity to me. It's how I explain to my clients, hey, you may pay more to go to Starbucks, but it's a known entity when you order your coffee. When you go to Kim, you may pay a little bit more, you may not. You're actually very comparable, but it's a known entity because you know that you're going to get good quality decor and she treats it like a business. It's going to be tagged ahead of time, So explain to my audience. So I call you and I have a listing coming up. And I want you to stage the house. And I've already sold them on staging. We can talk about the benefits of staging. But what's your process?
Okay. Well, I guess also at this point, I've hired a lot of people who do things a lot better than I could because I don't wear all the hats anymore.
That's the moral of my story.
They're going to
surround yourself with people better than you.
She's going to gather the information about that property, the price point, the square footage, and how ready is it, and then work on a proposal. And it could be anywhere from an essential, premier, or luxe type proposal. And that gets sent to the realtor and the homeowner. Typically, the homeowner will pay for it. And once they approve it, it then gets scheduled. And then the magic happens where then it gets assigned a stager. And then they go to do a site visit. Because we can do the proposal based on the photos on MLS and based on the amount of furniture that it needs. But to really start the design, an actual stager has to go and measure and really see every wall and figure out exactly the game plan. Then they come back to the warehouse and start tagging all of the furniture they want to use for that property. And, because there are 3 stagers who are all working on different properties each day. Yeah. So they have to share. And,
who gets to the good stuff first?
And then things get tagged and packed up by room. It's very... there's very much a system and a method to it. And then the day of staging, which a lot of people think takes days to do, but that's that doesn't take much time. It's behind the scenes of what happens to come up with the design and packing it all and getting it all right. Because they don't bring a bunch of stuff and extras and then send stuff back. It is exactly the way they envisioned it, packed by room. So when they arrive at the property, it's usually kind of 2 to 3 movers, a stager and an assistant stager. And they're like decorating ninjas, and they go in and they all have their roles. Everything is labeled to what room it goes into, so the stager doesn't have to tell the movers where to move anything. And they set everything up. They scan it with an RFID scanner for our inventory system, so we know what pieces are at that property. And then it gets professionally photographed that afternoon. Usually we have standing photography appointments every afternoon so that nobody can get in there to mess anything up, move things. And then it gets listed the next morning. And then hopefully, we rent our furniture for 45 days, unless it's a luxury at 60 days. And then usually, it's under contract, should stay staged through inspection and appraisal. And then we've got to pack it up and move it out too. So it's actually 3 trips: the site visit for the stager, the delivery and installation day, and then the D-stage pack-up day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work. Everyone thinks it's a lot of, design work, but it's not. It's very physical. It's sweaty. It's, it's hard.
It's a lot.
It's moving.
Yeah, it's a lot. You're moving every day.
Yeah.
And you have crews moving every single day out of a warehouse with big doors open, and it's hot.
Yeah. So we stage about 300 houses a year, which means that about that many are selling as well. So that's like 600 stops these guys are doing. So
it's incredible. What really impresses me is your level of organization, and you touched on it a little bit. Like, you have a packing order for the order that it goes into the truck.
Right.
And nothing's left behind in that truck. Like, everything comes out because that truck's coming back and it's going to be packed that night for the next day.
Correct.
And so,
for instance, we're telling them to load the truck, do the heavy pieces first, say the sofas and the big pieces, and then leave the rugs last.
Yep.
So it would be nice to put them in the beginning, but no. They go on last because they got to come off the truck first, put down, and then put the furniture on. Otherwise, you got to keep touching the furniture.
Yeah.
So.
And then it comes all back to the warehouse.
Yep.
And you have to empty the trucks.
Yeah. And then put everything back where it belongs.
Cut off all the plastic because you've wrapped it up to preserve some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then get it all back in a 2-story warehouse.
Yeah.
And tagged again, and then we start the whole process over again.
And there's a lot of shopping involved. If we don't have what we need to go find it.
And every house is different, like you said.
And so we don't take one house and cookie cutter move it to another. Some stagers do that. They only own a few houses of furniture, and they'll just move it from one to another. Every one of our houses are custom done, just because the stagers they're trying to figure out, who is the buyer for this demographic, and who, and what is the architecture of this house? What area is it? All of those factors to pick the right style.
Yeah.
That's going to make sense for that property and that buyer. So you get the result you want, which is selling faster.
Yes. So we were talking about this before we got started. You staged a listing by one of my agents at Remax Alliance recently, Meeting House. A huge house in Virginia Beach, 5,000 plus square feet. And she was very nervous when we were running the numbers for it, that it was dated. And, it sold for over $2 million. So it was a luxury listing in our market. And I saw the pictures beforehand. And then I went to her open house the day after it listed, and we were all blown away. Like, the fact that you came in and were able to work with the property. There was tons of white. You brought in tons of white, which made it look clean and open and airy, because this house already had wood accents. So it was very much tailored to that house, so much so that we were talking about in one of the bedrooms that had this wallpaper that, if the house had not been staged, it would have looked weird. It had these weird wicker circle patterns on the wallpaper. It was actually very beautiful. But if you didn't know it and didn't see it staged, you wouldn't really appreciate that. You guys brought in the bed and the furniture and all the beautiful bedding and round wicker baskets that looked like you had bought them for that wallpaper. Maybe you did.
Well, but it was perfect. The design.
It was perfect, repeating the design. And then I think that room had a blue bedroom with blue wallpaper and blue closet doors. Mm-hmm. And you tailored that, and it didn't look dated either. And it honestly did not. Every person that walked through the house said, this doesn't look like the same house.
Yeah.
And that's the common consensus I get from my sellers, too.
And big houses like that, too, that have the really high ceilings and all of that architecture, scale matters. So the right size furniture, or we'll have to use double coffee tables and 14-foot rugs. Not all stagers are equipped to do that. So putting things to scale is really key for those properties.
Yes. I think the first time I saw you, I sold a house years ago. And it was it was like 1.3 million. It was a big house, and you guys had staged it, and I had the buyers, and I walked in, and right away I was like, oh, this is Kim's design. And it was gorgeous. And that agent had people calling, asking to do their branding photos in the house because the staging was so good. They wanted,
I see that a
they
lot.
wanted the branding photos in there, which was really cool. Talk to me about staging the smaller houses. You just did one for me. It's getting destaged. I think it's destaged this week. And it was an estate sale. And it's a smaller house. And you guys were able to bring character to that too, even though it's older.
Yeah. I think some people think only luxury houses have to be staged, but the small ones can totally benefit even more because when it's a small home or the rooms are small, when they're vacant, it looks smaller. When you put the furniture in there, it like all the objections of this house is so small goes away. So it's really important to do either small bedrooms or the small rooms and not let those go vacant.
Yeah, that house. Just so you know, that house was built, and the audience knows, in the 70s. It's in Old Lagamar, which is an older established neighborhood in our area, and it's a ranch, and it's an estate, and I had to talk to the trustee to say, hey, you really have to let me carpet and paint in here, and you've got to trust me. We have to stage this. And they called me, both the daughter of the seller who's passed away, the daughter called me, and her brother called me and said, this doesn't even look like my sister's house. It is beautiful. Nothing against the sister's house, but he said, I am so glad we trusted you because it's gorgeous. And we had 8 offers in a slowing market. They were worried about being listed in September. We had 8 offers well above list price, and we had to cut off the showings. Like, it just got to be too much.
That's what I love about you. You're so confident, like, trust me, because it's not just the staging. You do need to carpet and paint and get the whole thing freshened up to then.
But then people can visualize themselves there. And you're right, the
And it's a
objections
happy
on
ending.
space go away. The objections on, you can take something that looks dated and decorated properly, doesn't look dated anymore. And it's easier to photograph too because you see the scale.
Yeah.
We have so many buyers that are remote that aren't seeing. If they can't picture a king size bed in that room, they rule the house out.
That's kind of with like virtual staging. Yeah, it can show you where to put furniture, but it just doesn't have the same emotional connection when you enter. So I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm not either. I've never done it, and I haven't crossed that bridge. I agree with you. Tell me about where you think you want to go in the next 5 years.
Well, we've had some lofty goals over the past couple of years, and we've met them. So I'm at a point now where I now have a team that can pretty much run the day-to-day.
That's what every business owner strives for.
I am living a lot in our beach house in the Outer Banks. A place in the
really awesome, by the way.
Drive with the wild horses, and my husband just
in Corolla, right?
Yeah, my husband unexpectedly ended up retiring in June, so it's kind of like we're just enjoying more time there and trusting and train. I've trained everybody to do a great job, and they're doing it. So so that's for me. I'm kind of working myself out of the day to day, and just help building them to, keep taking it to the next level. Right now, we're getting more into the luxury market, and we just got to manage all the inventory. But we like this location where we are. It's a great spot to serve the majority of our
You're very centrally
clients.
located.
So we're trying to live within this space. But
I think that should be I had a coach tell me that your goal should be to work yourself out of a job, and if you're going to create a life at all, and we talk a lot on the podcast about entrepreneurship. You should be replaceable,
and the
to
team
get out
has
of the
known
day-to-day
it. Like
tasks.
it's been on every past 5 years. Like clockwork me out. In 4 years, 3 years, and so sure enough, it took a year longer, but I'm not answering the phone anymore. I'm out of a lot of the systems. So
I depend so heavily on my staff that there are times where people ask me, and I'm like, I don't know. You have to ask my bookkeeper or my transaction coordinator. I have no idea. But
so
that
we'll
is the goal.
continue to grow, but give others on the team the opportunity to take it to the next level.
Hire people better than you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, always. So tell me about, is there any house or staging job over the years that stands out to you, or you feel like you made a difference, or it made a difference to you, or made an impact on you?
Well, there's been thousands, but the one I was just telling the story about earlier today was there was a house in Norfolk that a woman had gone into assisted living, hired an agent who hired a stager, and she absolutely hated it, and she kicked them out. She said it was too Salvation Army. She hired another agent who hired a stager, and then she kicked that out. She said it's too eclectic. She hated it. So then hired the third, who then hired us, and we're like, oh my gosh, like what,
How do we go
what are
up
our
to
chances
this?
here? We just did what we normally do, brought a lot of texture in, and staged the house the way we would professionally do it. And sure enough, it did get an offer within a month, and she was happy in the end. But the thing is, she lost 2 years by not hiring not doing it right in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's kind of, if you're only shopping on price, you may not get what you expect, and it's just.
What do you think makes your staging different?
I mean, I think the quality of the furniture and the custom designs that we do.
It is definitely custom.
We have a look for sure. We're in a kind of a coastal-y area, so we carry a lot of that in.
But you do a really good job tailoring the coastal to the home.
Right. Yeah, you
it's
wouldn't
not
wanna do that
always.
in
I have
Suffolk.
seen people that will take coastal into an early 1900s home in Norfolk, and it doesn't work. Or bringing coastal into a home that's darker with warm woods, and they bring in all this white, and you need to balance it. You
Yeah.
need to bring the warmth in. And you guys do a really great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, Stacy on our team does all the buying, so it's a lot. We spend about almost $200,000 a year on new furniture.
I was just going to ask you. So
Yeah.
you reload your inventory typically twice a year?
And we're adding to it because
Yeah.
more and more houses are staying out. We used to have 30 houses out in the field. Now it's 50 houses out in the field, and we still trying to keep up with the phone calls that are coming in. So it's tough. How much is too much? It's like you can never have enough.
Yes. Well, and then you're recycling, as most of your stuff is pretty
we'll
classic.
do a warehouse
but yeah.
sale once a year to let go of some of the things because the space is too valuable. If this isn't moving, and our inventory system will show this has not been moved, so it's got to go. And to make
So
room
if the
for
designers aren't selecting it and they're not putting it in houses, you're tracking
If
that.
it's got any dust on it, it's got to go. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so how do people, I have agents all ask me all the time, and I know they're going to ask me after the podcast. Okay, how do we find out about your inventory sale?
I would just say follow us on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram for Impressive Home Staging. It's going to be in October 24th, I think.
Out here?
Yeah. And it'll be in the back
Nice.
parking lot.
Nice.
And it's from 10 till 2. Mm-hmm. So it goes quick. So you want
I was
to
going to say, I bet you probably have a good turnout.
Yeah.
You have a lot of the starting stagers who are coming to pick up
We used to
material.
have a lot to sell. Now we don't have as much to sell, but it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
It's just,
What have been your biggest hurdles as you've scaled, and I've got to watch you scale because I've used you for years, this business, and I think a lot of business owners struggle with scaling a business.
Yeah.
What have been your biggest hurdles? I mean, I know COVID years, you can talk a little bit about that too, because
Nothing really. COVID really, our sales, we've grown every single year, and even with COVID, we just dipped it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Most staging companies kind of went totally out of business and closed doors. But I think with our military market, we weather every storm. So
Well, I called you during COVID years, and you had to stop selling furniture because we were having a hard time getting it, and somebody wanted to buy the entire house you had stocked with, and you're like, no, we can't do that right now.
Yeah.
because we're having a hard time getting
Yeah.
inventory just because things had slower. Production of everything, supplies was slower
Yeah.
at the time.
Now, things are obviously easier to get. It's just a lot more expensive. Everything I was
Yes.
showing you earlier, isn't what it was a few years ago. Even the parts of making a bed, for instance.
Yeah.
Those, the frame was $100, the folding box spring was $100, and the 6-inch foam was $100. That's just to make it look soft, not
Yeah.
even the bedding or the bed that it's going on. But those parts now are $150 or $175 each. So it's there's
It's
a lot of money that goes into just a bed. And then
Yeah.
we steam everything and a lot of work.
So you bring steamers out to the house
Oh, yeah.
and steam
Two.
everything right there?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what the assistant stager has to do. Steaming the bed takes the longest, and vacuuming and
Okay, behind
carrying
the scenes
those.
secrets, you touched on it, because I've always wondered, and I know people have wondered, to make a bed really look like a bed, you're not using air mattresses and you're not using crates and boxes like some other people do. Explain your making a bed process.
Yeah. Well, we're usually using a headboard, footboard, and rails now. We don't
Yep.
use a lot of skirt beds anymore, so it's a much higher end look. But inside of that is a black folding frame that folds up flat. 2 pieces make up a queen, and it goes inside instead of using slats.
Yep.
It gets it to the right level. Then we use a folding box spring, which it stores in the warehouse and in the truck like only this much space, but it opens up to be a full
Nice.
box spring. And then we add a 6-inch foam mattress on top of that. So it's soft and it looks real. It doesn't have the hard corners of the box spring.
Right.
So those are kind of the pieces. And then we do all the
Then
bedding.
you
And
make
that's going to
all
have multiple layers on it too, right? There's going to be a sheet folded under it. It's going to have white bedding. It's going to have a layered piece at the base of it for bed pillows,
Yep.
sleeping pillows, shams, and then, 3 at least decorative pillows and maybe a throw.
Throw on the end.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
a
not-
lot of layers
Yeah,
for
I mean,
one.
back in the old days, it was air mattresses and whatnot. But now that's part of the growth of investing in
Investing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you hang the pictures on the walls with nails, or do you guys use sticky hooks?
No, we definitely use nails. We've been asked to use command strips, but
Yeah.
anytime we've tried it, it's always fallen.
come down.
And I don't want to ruin anyone's floor, so we just, explain that I know you just painted, but it's only little pinholes. And honestly, when you're at the closing table and you got your,
Nobody cares.
above offer asking price, you really don't care about the nails.
That's so true. You touched on it a little bit. You rent furniture for 45 days, which I think is
Yeah.
important because we keep it staged all the way through the appraisal process.
Yes.
And I have people ask me why we leave it in there through the whole thing. But it hides, we're not hiding things. It presents that beautiful look to the appraiser, and he's giving you the value of the house.
Right. I think it increases the perceived value of the house is what I always say. Now, I think an appraiser may disagree, but it does. It just helps it
does.
all
It's an
look
impression,
great. Yeah.
and it makes it all.
So, yeah, we don't want to pull it too soon because the last thing we want to do is restage the same house. That's not fun for us.
Especially if the offer falls
So,
through.
and we just know from our days on market, like right now, our average days on market is 10. So you should be able to be under contract and through inspection and appraisal within that 45-day window and be up and out without having to do a monthly renewal.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, most.
Awesome. So Corolla is
Yeah.
your
Corolla.
respite. Yeah, Corolla. What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, there's a good community where I am. A lot of people have retired
Down in
there, and
Corolla?
I have friends for many years that are all living there now. So we have a lot of fun. I'm learning to play mahjong. Go look for turtles in the morning, the tracks early in the morning, or pick up trash. I'm always on the beach looking for sea glass. I have quite a collection of all the different colors of sea
And you
glass.
have to
I
have
found a
four-wheel
red
drive to
piece
get
last week.
Oh, did you?
A real rare piece, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, 4-wheel drive. You need. There's no roads out there, and
Yeah.
there's about 100 wild Mustang horses. So
That's awesome.
It's cool.
That is really cool. That is definitely goals to strive for. Well, I thank you for being on the podcast. It's really nice. It's nice to get to see some of the behind the scenes. I know Sonia, our editor, is going to put in some videos for everybody to see for those who are actually watching this so that they can see the behind the scenes warehouse. If agents want to use you, or if home buyers and sellers want to reach out to you, they find you on...
I would say impressivehomestaging.com on our website, which is brand new. There's a quick quote button on every screen, so you can just put your information in there, and then Julie will contact you with with
She's
a quote.
great, by the way. She's so amazing.
Or you can just call the office, and Julie's going to answer. And the last thing I want to mention, we have a new program too for pay at close.
I was just going to bring that up.
Oh, so
Yes.
just as would want them to know, it's a company called Titus. So a homeowner can just apply, and they get approved within 90 seconds, and they they pay us, and then they get paid at closing. So it's no problem. It really is just they have to have 25% equity in the house and have a good credit score. If they have an over 800 or what, a really good credit score, they're not going to have to pay anything.
Nice.
Otherwise, it's a small percentage. And another new option is for the realtors can also do it as well to apply, and then same thing, get paid at closing. And you get approved for a larger amount. I think it's 25,000 or something like that. So you can use that towards any marketing or landscaping, painting. You can use it for whatever. So,
Right. Wow.
It's just an option, and it's really quick and easy.
Right.
And we're doing a lot more of that.
I've had quite a few of my clients use the Titus. It's essentially
Yeah.
like financing it
Yeah,
until the end of
basically.
closing.
Yep.
Several estate sales where, the seller has passed away, and the family, instead of pulling money from the family and pooling their money to get it together for
Yes.
staging, they're able to just wait. There's tons of equity in the house.
Yeah.
It works great for our military families who qualify for financing, but now and so they have, or they bought 3 years ago, they have equity in their house, but they're getting ready to move, and to spend money out of pocket up front to stage is hard. So it's been a really nice option.
Yeah.
So people enjoy it. Good. All right. So we find you on your website. We can find you on all your social channels. And reach out directly. And I look forward to seeing more posts of you down there playing mahjong and working with your amazing staff. I mean, truly, they really make this one-stop shopping. I tell everybody about you. It's very easy for me to convince a seller to use you when I show them before and after pictures. And then
I appreciate it.
You always make me the hero at the end because they're like, you made my house look so beautiful.
I know.
And I'm like,
Thanks for
I didn't
trusting
do
me.
it.
I know.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
well, thanks for joining us as we highlight another Hampton Roads business owner. Stay tuned. We've got some great features coming up in the coming weeks. Join us every 2 weeks on A Dispatch on Purpose. And if you'd like to be on our show, make sure to visit our website, visit us on all the social media channels, and you can find an application or just reach out directly. I'm your host, Amy Dahl, and it has been honored to host you again. Have a great day.